Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Pick Six podcast. We got another episode that we're going to dive into today. It is a cold and rainy Friday evening here in Ohio, and I'm so excited for another amazing weekend in college football. Week 13. Week 13 is going to be such a great weekend. Let's go ahead and get ready to dive in. Just a reminder, our record so far since we've launched the podcast is 7-5. So not great, not terrible, kind of right in the middle. We're hoping to have a good bounce back weekend this weekend with our picks. Without further ado, let's dive right into our picks, starting with game number 1. We have the 15-ranked USC Trojans on the road at the 7-ranked Oregon Ducks. Now, Oregon in this game is favored by 10.5 points. So they're favored by a touchdown, a field goal, plus tax. This game is going to be great. It's going to be a classic. I mean, people are calling it Big Ten, but it's technically, if you go back, like growing up, this was a Pac-12 matchup I always look forward to at the end of each year. This game has major playoff implications. I truly believe the winner of this game is in the playoffs. The loser is out. The loser is out of the discussion, out of the conversation. We'll see how that unravels. Obviously, this is at Autzen Stadium, a very, very, very tough place to play. I know Oregon lost to Indiana at home earlier this season, but they rarely lose in Autzen Stadium. It's a very, very tough place to play. Very loud, super loud environment, and it's going to be a great game. However, give me Oregon in this game. I think Dante Moore in the Oregon offense with their explosive running backs, Noah Whittington, a couple other guys, I think they're just going to be too much to handle. USC has shown signs of not being great against the run, and I think that's going to continue, and that's going to open up the passing game as well. I think Oregon is going to do a great job at taking advantage of that. So I have the Ducks winning outright, but I don't think they cover the points. I think 10.5 points is a little bit too much. So give me Oregon to win the game, but not to cover the spread, 35-27. Game number 2, we have number 22 ranked Missouri on the road at Oklahoma, the Sooners. This is going to be a great game. It's a noon game tomorrow if you're watching this on Friday night. Oklahoma is favored by 6.5 points, so just about a touchdown that they are favored. I think Missouri, their key to winning is running the ball well, running it early, running it often, and just being super effective with that. I have heard rumors that Bo Pribula, Mizzou's quarterback who got injured a few weeks ago, he could be back in the lineup. I think that would be a huge thing for the team. That'd be very beneficial. We'll see. We'll see if he ends up playing tomorrow. Like I said, Missouri's good at running the ball. So the Sooners have definitely shown some vulnerabilities against the run this season. We'll see how that goes. They've shown some vulnerabilities against Michigan. However, it wasn't a big issue. They still blew Michigan out. We'll see how that unravels. In this game, I think it will be close. I think it will be your classic SEC matchup, running the ball, smash mouth football. I do think John Mateer and the Sooners defense will step up tomorrow. Obviously, he's the quarterback, but the defense will also step up tomorrow, and they're going to be too much for the Tigers to handle. I think they will hand Mizzou their 4th loss of the season. So give me Oklahoma, not just to win, but to cover the spread 27-20 tomorrow afternoon. Also, game number 3. We're going to jump into game number 3. We have the 11-ranked BYU Cougars sitting in at 9-1 on the road in a night game at the Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati 7-3. Now, what has really kind of shocked me this week is seeing the spread that BYU is only favored by 2.5 points. I thought that number would be much larger. Thought it'd be a bigger number, just considering their resumes, how they've been playing as of late. Apparently not. Apparently Vegas knows something that I don't know. Now, Cincinnati has lost 2 games straight. They're looking to bounce back this week after losing 2 games in a row. I believe they had a bye week in between. Obviously, we know we've talked about it, discussed this on this podcast. BYU's only loss is at Texas Tech, which is number 6, top 5 or 6 ranked team in the country. Very good, very talented team. So that's not a bad loss, although they did get blown out. However, BYU still has their Big 12 championship hopes alive and their playoff hopes. If they win this game, they can get into the Big 12 championship. Of course, I think they probably will have to win the championship to get in. But there's no world where I see Cincinnati actually competing in this game after losing 2 games in a row. BYU's bouncing back. Quarterback's playing better. Bear Bachmeier. I have BYU winning this game and covering the spread, not by a little, but by a lot. I have my final score 28-10. BYU Cougars all the way, advancing to 10-1 on the season, going into their final game next weekend. Game number 4, we have the Tennessee Volunteers, ranked number 20, at the Florida Gators. Their records are opposite. Tennessee is 7-3. Florida is 3-7. You would think, okay, this isn't going to be a close game. Why are you even putting it on the top 6 games? I do think this is a very, very meaningful game in the South. They play this game every other year, and I think it is going to be a great matchup. Regardless of the record, I think it's going to be an intense environment and a great matchup. This is a night game in the Swamp, 7:30 p.m. Tennessee is favored by 4 points, so less than a touchdown. Vegas knows this is going to be close. This is probably most likely not going to be a blowout. And not to mention, don't forget, Florida took down Texas earlier in the season. Texas, I get it. They've been up and down. They got blown out by Georgia last week. But Texas is a great brand in football, and they're a pretty solid team. So the fact that they took down Texas says a lot about their team. Now, do they have what it takes to win this game? After firing Billy Napier, after getting blown out by Kentucky, having a few rough games in a row, do they have what it takes? Ultimately, I think the Swamp is going to be insane. I think the fans are going to make it very, very tough for Joey Aguilar and the Volunteer offense. However, I think Tennessee does somehow, some way pull through, and they get it done in a tough road environment, and they win this football game by a field goal. So I'm picking Tennessee to win, but not to cover the spread. This is going to be, again, a hard-fought, low-scoring game. Tennessee wins with a walk-off field goal, 19-16, when it's all said and done. Let's go to game number 5. We have the Pitt Panthers sitting in at 7-3 on the road at the 16-ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. They're 9-1 on the season. This is a night game at Georgia Tech. This is a battle for who can fight for their spot and wedge their way into the ACC championship. I did mention earlier this week in our last podcast, I have some very major concerns for Georgia Tech, which makes me weary in picking them for this game. They've constantly had to bring themselves back against Boston College, a 1-9 team. Some other teams, they've not been playing well against at all, and they needed a miracle to win those games. However, I'm a man of my word. I always got to stick to my guns. Georgia Tech is the team I predicted to win this conference, to win the ACC. So I'm going to stick to what I've already predicted. And as much as I want to pick Pitt and think they got a very good chance at winning, I'm going to go ahead and stick to my guns. Give me Georgia Tech to win in a dramatic fashion. Night game at home. I think Haynes King needs to have the game of his life to win this game, because I think Pitt is going to show up to play, and they're not going to worry about getting blown out by 100 like they did versus Notre Dame, and like their coach was talking about. This is an ACC game, so apparently they show up to play for ACC games. So give me Georgia Tech to win and to cover the points, 45-41, in a high-scoring, high-volume matchup, very intense matchup. Game number 6, final pick of the week before our bonus pick. We have the 21-ranked Illinois Fighting Illini sitting in at 7-3 on the road in a night game at Wisconsin. This is an interesting matchup. Again, you and I and everybody's mama knows that Wisconsin has not had the season that they've wanted, the season they've been trying to get Luke Fickell to produce. We know that, we understand that, but this is a night game at Camp Randall Stadium. I grew up watching night games at Camp Randall Stadium, and there were a lot of times, whether it's J.J. Watt or Russell Wilson, some of these players that Wisconsin has had in the past, has really crushed my dreams as a Buckeye fan at night in Camp Randall. So we'll see how it goes. Illinois is favored by 8 12.5 points. Illinois just slipped their way back into the CFP rankings this week. They're going on the road to Camp Randall. Again, like I said, very tough place to play. Wisconsin's season is all but over, but I think the fans show up. I think the fans are looking ahead to what next year has to hold. You know, they've already said they're hanging on to Luke Fickell. They're not firing him just yet. They're going to give him one more shot. And I think the fans are going to be ready to jump around. They're going to be ready to give Luke Altmyer a tough time on the road, and they're not going to make any touchdown, any points, any first down easy for Illinois. I do think Wisconsin, like I said, they leave it all on the field. I think they throw the kitchen sink at Illinois on Saturday night. But I just don't think at the end of the day that they have what it takes to win this football game and to take down the Illinois Fighting Illini. So with my pick, I'm picking Illinois to win outright, but I don't think they cover the 8.5 point spread. It's a very, very close game, hard fought matchup until the very end. Illinois wins this game 31-27 on the road. All right, our bonus pick, final pick of the night. We have the 5-5 Rutgers Scarlet Knights on the road at the Ohio State Buckeyes. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Obviously, y'all know by now I'm an Ohio State fan. This is a noon game in Columbus. I'm actually going to be at the game tomorrow. We had a hookup with the tickets. We got free tickets to the game from a staffer at Ohio State, so that's pretty exciting. It's going to be, I'm excited. It's going to be a fun day. It's a high of 51 degrees. It's going to be cloudy, but also a little bit of sunshine. It's senior day for Ohio State. I'm excited to be a part. Obviously, there's no question on who wins this game. That's going to be the Buckeyes. But the question is, by how much? How much do the Buckeyes win this game by? Now, the spread is 31.5 points. That's a big number. That's kind of been the number the last few weeks. 2 weeks ago versus Purdue, the spread was 31.5. Last week against UCLA was 32.5. I thought the number was too big. Nico opts out of the game. So I'm like, Nico opted out of the game. So I'm like, yeah, the Buckeyes are going to win this and win it big. Nico was the only chance I thought they had of not losing by 50. So give me the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes are going to win this game. I think they're going to blow out the Rutgers, and I think they're just going to try to get out of that stadium. I don't think they're going to score 60 on the Rutgers. I think they're just going to kind of try to keep it slow, keep their defense well rested for the big game next week. And y'all know what I'm talking about. It's the game, Ohio State versus Michigan. We got some very special content coming up for that. But give me Ohio State to win at home on senior day and to cover the spread 41-6. 41-6. That's going to do it for our episode today. That's our picks. We'll come back at the beginning of next week and see how we did and really recap some of our picks. So just want to say thank you so much for tuning in. All the engagement that we've had on all of our platforms has been amazing to see, and it's exciting. We're looking ahead to the future, and I just want to wish all you an amazing weekend. Enjoy an awesome weekend of college football. We'll see you back next week, and we're going to have a very, very special edition of this podcast for Rivalry Week. I'm pumped to break it down, and I'm pumped to get into Rivalry Week as well. So until next time, have an amazing weekend. This is E-Rose with the Pick Six Podcast. Have a great night, and God bless.